Hello, welcome. So we're going to do a little bit of work on note reading. So this is what everything you need to know for your level A badge, but also for anybody that's just looking to learn their notes. We're just going to learn the first 5 obvious notes that you could learn, starting from middle C. So hopefully you can see really clearly on the screen the piano. And by the way, if you've got a piano like mine made out of wood and metal and everything, you tend to find that middle C is the C nearest to where the name of the piano is. Sometimes even you've got a keyhole on the piano, and sometimes that will help you. Or even if you've got an electronic piano, you tend to find that the name, it's got Yamaha, Roland, or whatever written on it, that tends to be close to where middle C is. Now, middle C, to find any C, in fact, do you remember the thing we use? We can look for the rabbit ears. So there's patterns to these black notes. They're not just a sea of black notes. We've got sets of 2 and sets of 3. And the sets of 2 I think of as rabbit ears. And in fact, we learned a piece when we very first started, which went rabbit ears, C, D, E. And the idea of that piece, as well as to be a fun little piece to play, was that it showed us where the rabbit ears are on the piano, and you've got lots of them on here. Now, wherever you have a rabbit ears, you have 3 notes by it, not A, B, C. The notes are C, D, E. So it goes rabbit ears, and straight away there you have it, a C, a D, and an E. Okay. So A and B are there, they're just down here. So it's A, B, C, D, E. But it's really good just to think about C as in music, C is a very important note. So it's C, D, E. And I'd like to add 2 more in that we've been looking at, which are F and G. So there we go, I'll go over that again. So we've got C, D, E, F, G. And you might like to do it with me. Why don't we do it? If I count to 4, and then let's try it together. So try and use the side of your thumb on the C, and we're going to walk up these 5 notes. And we can sing at the same time. 1, 2, 3, 4. C, D, E, F, G. So there's 5 really important notes there. C, D, E, F, and G. Now the C is just by the rabbit ears. And by the way, anywhere on the piano with this rabbit ears, C, D, E, F, G, they've got the same sound, but they're lower, aren't they? Or if I went up here, going out the camera now, but you can hear it. C, D, E, F, and G. So let's look at how we might write those in our music, which could be very, very useful. So I've just got a little bit of music here. I don't know if you can see it, so the screen's a little bit shiny. But one of our pieces here, trudging. Now you've got an upper part and a lower part. So the upper part is almost always for your upper hand, for your right hand. There's my right hand there. And the lower part, which we'll be looking at a lot more for level B, that's the lower bit here. So that's the left hand part. So we've got an upper part and a lower part. Now we have special signs for them. Usually the upper part will have this funny little squiggly sign called a treble clef. And I've got one on the card here. There it is. So that's a treble clef. And then the one down at the bottom, which we'll be learning a lot more about in the next badge, but I want to show you the sign anyway. We call that a bass clef, so that's the lower part. So there's the upper part, treble clef, and there's the lower part, bass clef. Now, everything we're going to do today, and everything that you need for your level A badge, is to do with treble clef, okay? And we're going to be looking at those 5 notes I was just playing, C, D, E, F, and G. So it's all going to be what I call treble clef notes. So let's start off with C. So I'll just put it here on my piano. Hopefully you can see that. Make sure you've got this blown out really big so you can see on there. In fact, I'll hold it up a bit closer for us. So there's the treble clef. Here's what we call the stave, or sometimes I like to call this the music ladder, because it is almost like a music ladder that you put your notes on, isn't it? Now remember, in a normal piece of music, there is an upper bit and a lower bit. The upper bit is for your right hand, and the lower bit is for your left hand. We only need to think about things for the right hand for now. So that's how C is written. You'll notice it's under the music ladder, and it's got a little line going through it. I'm going to pop that one up here out of the way for a sec. Now, here's the next note. This is D. So that'll be, there was C, here's D, right? So D is a tiny bit higher up, and it is touching the music ladder, only just. Let me show you C and D next to each other. So here's the C, I'll give it a shake. There's your C, okay? It's got its own little line, and it's under the music ladder, and there's actually a little bit of a gap. So that's C. It's quite easy to spot because it's got its own little line going through it, which a lot of notes don't have. D has no line through it. It's a tiny bit higher up, so it's touching the music ladder, and we would call that on a space. And by that, I mean it hasn't got a line going through it. So C, we'd say that that's on a line because it has a line going through it, albeit one that's its own little line, a ledger line. So there's C, here's D. What else can I say? Can you see how the D is a tiny bit higher up? If I slide that card in there, so you can just see it. Can you see it's a tiny bit higher up than the C? So this is how the notes work. They go up a little bit higher each time. So that's the C. Here's the D. So the E, the next one, C, D, E, is going to be a little bit higher up again. And here it is on the card. So E is a very important note. It's the first one that's on a proper line on the music ladder or on the stave here. So that's C, D, that's the E there. So guess what? If I keep going, the next note will be a tiny bit higher up. It's going to be on this space F. Here it is. So that's an F. So that'll be that one. Okay. Now don't panic. We're not going to do millions of these. There's one more. Okay. We're going to do the G as well. And here is the G, and that's as high as we're going. That's the little finger note. So that would be that one there. Let me put them all out. I think there's just about room to put them all out on the piano here so you can see them side by side. So there's the C, there's the D, there's the E. In fact, I'm going to overlap them a bit. I might even do this. Let's try that so we can just get them all into the same shot. So C, D, E, here's the F, and here is the G. Now let's have a look at what we got. Okay, so C, remember I was saying that's below the music ladder. It's got its own little line. That's the one you play normally with your thumb, but of course eventually we're going to use, we'll be moving our hands around, doing all sorts of wonderful things. But to begin with, it's really good to start with a nice fixed hand position. So our thumb is normally going to do C, D, that's that one there on a space. That's going to be your second finger. The one on the first proper line, you see what I mean? So that's not a proper line, that's what we call a ledger line. This is the first proper line of the stave here. So that's the E one, that's the middle one there. So that's worth trying to remember. Then the next one is on the first proper space. That's the F. And then the last one is on the little finger. That's the G, okay? Now there's a pattern going on here. Well, there's a few patterns going on here. We're always looking for patterns in music because patterns help us work out what's going on. So the patterns that I'm seeing here is the notes are gradually getting higher. So that's one pattern, okay? And that's a really important one because if the notes are getting higher on the music, when you're playing it, you'll actually see that you'll be moving up your fingers towards the top of the piano. In other words, going higher up the piano as well. So when you see notes going up, you will find that you will be playing going up. So that's one pattern, going up. And of course, you could see a set of notes when you see them going down, but we'll talk about that in a minute. The other really obvious, well, not obvious, but the other pattern I can see, and I always mention because it helps people learn this, is that there's a pattern of lines and spaces. Fancy word is alternating, switching between lines and spaces. Line, space, line, space, line. So one after another, we're going up the piano. C, D, E, F, G. We're going line, space, line, space, line. So we've got 5 notes here. I think you'll probably remember C, most people do, and often people will remember D because it just looks like the C, but it's a tiny bit higher and hasn't got the line. But then this is where it gets a bit more confusing. So let's see if we can use these patterns to help us. Think about it this way. There are 3 notes here on lines. Oh, can't quite see them coming out. I'll tell you what, I'm going to pull out the ones on the spaces for a sec. So here's the C, that's the thumb. Here's the E. Now remember, I've pulled out the one with this on the space. So the E is also a line. So I'm going for my thumb. The bottom one is a line. The middle one, the E, is a line. And the top one, the G, is also a line. So try and remember that that's a line, and that's a line. This is the special ledger line. The middle one is actually the first proper line on the stave, on the music ladder. And then the second line up, that's the little finger one. And then the other 2 must be spaces, which they are. Here they are, okay? So D, that's your second finger, that's a space. And then the F there, That's also a space. See what I'm doing? So the one that's under the music ladder, the only space under the music ladder, that's the D one, okay? And then the only one that's on the music ladder at the moment is the F one. So line, 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 da 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 da. So there's the D, there's the F, there's spaces. So that's a line, that's a line, that's a line, that's a space, that's a space. That's C, that's D, that's E, that's F, that's G, C, D, E, F, G. If I just did the lines, C, E, G, E, C. Okay. I'm just going to take these notes away for a sec. Let's just look at those on the piano. So that's what we've got. C, D, E, F, G. Line, space, line, space, line. Or if I went C, E, G, that would be line, line, line. C, E, G. D is a space, F is a space, D, F. Let's play a little game. So first of all, let's just look at it one more time with them in the right order. C, D on a space. That's the first one was on a line. The second one's on a space. E is on the first proper line. F is on a space. G is on a line. So let's jumble them up. And I'm going to talk you through them now, just to finish off. But I'll leave a little gap and see if you can work out what it is before I get to it. So, and I'll talk you through the way I think about it when I see it. This note is on a space. It's going to be D or F. This note is quite low down and it's not right, it's just a tiny bit below the music ladder. So it's the one just one up from C, isn't it? So it's C, D, that one. Okay, see the way I'm thinking about it? Here's another one. It's on a line. Now, that one, I can't remember that one at all now. So it's quite high up. It's on a line. So these were the three line notes, weren't they? C, E, G. Now, do you remember the C had its own little ledger line? The E was on the first line. So this is the little finger one, which is C, D, E. It'll be that one. G. See, so just taking the time. Just taking the time to work them out. Here's another one. Oh, you know that one. It's the lowest one. It's on a line. It's got its own little ledger line. It's C. So that would be that note there. Here's another one. Oh, tricky. Now, it's on a space. So it's either the D or the F. C, D, E, F. It's D or F. And actually, isn't that the higher one? Isn't it? So it's going to be that one. C, D, E, and I'm going to count up to it. I can't remember the name. C, D, I know it's that note. It's the one that's on that finger. C, D, E, F. So it'll be four finger and F. That one there. Last one. That's on a line, but it's not C, is it? Because remember, C is right down the bottom of its own line. So the line notes are C, then that one, E, and then that one. It's the one in the middle. E, C, D, E. You get the idea? So just to finish off now, you might want to go back and watch that again, or if you think you've got the hang of it, I'm just going to put the notes out. I'm going to leave them for a moment, and then I'm going to tell you what they are and play the note. And you could try to do the same thing, but see if you can do it before I do it. So here's your first one. What is it? So I'm not going to help you. I'm just going to give you a little bit of time, and then I'm going to tell you what it is and play it. So after three, 1, 2, 3. It's F, four finger. Here's your next note. So have a little look, have a little think about it, and then count to 3, and then we're going to play it and say it. 1, 2, 3. C. Here's another one. Have a little think about it. It's quite high up. I'm going to count to 3, and we're going to say it and play it. 1, 2, 3. G. Have a little think about it. After 2, 1, 2. D. Last one. Have a little think about it. 1, 2, 3. E. You get the idea. So there we go. So last thing, I'm just going to try and put these cards out in the right order again. Just have a little look here. That's the one that goes in the middle. That's got the one that goes just under it. This is on a line as well, so there needs to be a space together. So I'll put that right to the end there. So can almost see it. I'll just get it back in the picture. There it is, just in. And then, there's the C. That's going down here. And that one's got to tuck in here. Line, space, line, space, line. C, E, G. Or backwards, G, F, E, D, C. So I hope that helps. Now, don't worry, you'll find, I tend to find everything, you have to learn things 3 times till they stick, okay? And I'm always going on about threes. 3's the magic number. So when you're practicing, playing things 3 times works really well. But also when you're learning things, if you're learning words or letters or anything, I reckon if you do something 3 times, it's pretty much fixed forever, I find. So see if you could watch this video and just try the little bit at the end 3 times, and I think you will be an expert and you'll know everything you need to know for your level A badge. Bye-bye.